Hi everyone, welcome to Sports Insider. I'm Dan Labbe, joined by Chris Fedor. Packed show as always today. Mary Kay Cabot will talk Browns with us. Paul Hoynes will talk Indians. I'm afraid it's over.
Now you're saying it?
I'm afraid it might finally be over.
You got to the point finally.
And then, of course, we will preview Cavaliers training camp with Chris Haynes. Bud Shaw will join us at the end of the show, too. But first, let's get to it. Mary Kay Cabot joins us via phone to talk Browns. Mary Kay, how are you?
I'm fine, guys. How you doing?
Doing well, of course. The big news of yesterday was Josh McCown was named the starter for the Cleveland Browns on Sunday against the Raiders. Were you surprised at all that Josh McCown was named the starter and that it took that long, or was it just a matter of him getting out of the concussion protocol?
Yeah, no, I wasn't surprised because, I think they were leaning towards they were going to do that the week before had he passed the concussion protocol. So I pretty much expected this. I didn't think that Johnny did enough in that game to overtake Josh McCown. I mean, this was their plan all training camp, all preseason. He had that good first drive against the Jets defense that's shaping up to look pretty decent this year. And I think all signs were pointing towards Josh, and I agree with the decision.
Mary Kay, when you think about what Mike Pettine had to say yesterday in explaining the decision, he went into it thoroughly. I thought what he said was logical and reasonable. But if you had to sum up the reason why he decided to go back to Josh McCown, how would you sum it up? He's the better quarterback. That in a phrase, right now, he is the better quarterback. Johnny's coming along. He's making progress. We all saw that in this past game. But he's not quite there yet. And once defenses start to kind of figure out how to best game plan for him and neutralize some of the things that he does well and maybe take away Travis Benjamin a little bit, down for down, I think that Josh McCown is going to be able to distribute the ball better to more receivers and just function better, regardless of what is thrown at him.
Mary Kay, Mike Pettine kind of downplayed it yesterday, but there had to be some consideration about the impact of this decision on the locker room. Do you think that played a role in it?
I don't think it played a large role because I don't think that that there is as much, clamor in the locker room for maybe Johnny as there was last year when Brian Hoyer was struggling over a period of time. I think there was an undercurrent of, hey, why aren't we trying Johnny Manziel when we're seeing him do some really cool things in practice? And make no mistake, he was doing some cool things in practice, regardless of, some reports and stories that we've heard that he just had no idea what he was doing. He was still going out and running around and improvising and making those kind of Johnny football plays in practice. He was going off script, actually, at times to do that. That doesn't mean that he was ready to run their offense in the way they needed him to, but he wasn't, just wandering around out there completely lost. But I don't think there's the same, kind of support for Johnny where people are like, hey, we got to see what this guy can do. I think everybody kind of knows right now, especially the veterans in that locker room, that Josh McCown has the experience, and he's the way to go right now.
Mary Kay, what does this decision tell you, if anything, about how the Browns view Johnny Manziel long-term?
Well, I think they're sort of cautiously optimistic right now. I think they view him currently still as the backup and as a developmental project. But if you believe what Pet is telling us, and if you believe what John DeFilippo told us last week, they believe he could be a quality starter, and Flip even says he's got tremendous physical attributes. Now, does that mean he can put it all together? They don't even know the answer to that. But I still think at this point they feel he's worth investing the time and trouble into.
Mary Kay, how short is the leash now on Josh McCown? What would it take for the Browns to make another switch at quarterback and go back to Johnny?
I don't think the leash is short. I think that they'll evaluate Josh's play for what he's doing, and that it might be a little tricky at times because there's just not a lot of playmakers on this team. I mean, if the opponent does take away Travis Benjamin, and we can expect them to do that, there's just not a lot of other big guys or big playmakers on this team. I mean, unless Dwayne Bowe comes through and starts, producing and jumping up in the red zone and the end zone and catching touchdown passes, which we know he hasn't done that in a very long time, I just don't know where the plays are going to come from unless you can sneak a a big play over the middle to a Gary Barnage. Rob Hauser hasn't done anything yet. You've got consistent guys that are going to make some plays for you in Brian Hartline, Andrew Hawkins, Taylor Gabriel, and those guys. But, your number one type of receiver, that guy has to emerge. And I think it's going to be a little bit of a tough go for Josh. Now, I do think he will distribute the ball well, and he'll find guys that will make plays for him. But they do need more playmakers on this team.
Mary Kay, of course, everyone has talked about Johnny Manziel mentally and how he was mentally prepared to go in against New York and his mental preparations as the starter last week. And he said that was a good feeling for him. So now what does this do to Johnny mentally? How does he respond to this?
Well, I think it's good that he's disappointed. I think it's good that he's, really bummed about this, and he seemed like he was yesterday. But it's a different Johnny Manziel, I believe, than the one that we were dealing with last year where, if he, didn't have the structure and he didn't have the, the opportunity to be the guy, I think, at times he probably, faltered off the field. I think that the 2015 edition of Johnny Manziel is more equipped to handle the ups and downs of life. I think he has a support system in place. I think the Browns are working very hard to make sure that he is working whatever program he needs to work. And I think that he'll handle the whole thing a lot better than he did last year.
All right, Mary Kay, thanks for the time.
Thank you, guys.